Xrp, 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 Xrp. The Bulls getting ready to run out the gates.
Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. HighVibeAssets back again with another dagger. You know, the show is sponsored by AlgoPearRich Family Join the Society. You can either click the link in the description or you can follow me on my x.com page, family. 13.5 thousand subscribers. Make sure you hit the like button, family. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Every single time that you click on this thumbnail, it's guaranteed bullish content only. We're going to go ahead and jump right into it, family. Xrp will create the next generation of millionaires. And this is what it's setting up to be. This isn't really speculation anymore when you talk about digital assets, DLT, cryptocurrency. It's no longer funny money anymore, right? We've seen and we've been past that stage, 2025, 2026. We're in full-blown adoption. And we've been calling this for years, right? We've just been ahead of the game. This is the reason why you subscribe to the HighVibeAssets channel. Welcome to the era of full-blown tokenization. And that's how we're going to start off today's show, family, with a bang. Because, you know, we've seen this a lot on this channel, family. We've seen essentially what's going to happen when we tokenize this entire ecosystem. I'm talking about banknotes, government bonds, corporate bonds, commodities, derivatives, 401ks, real estate. I mean, the entire thing being tokenized. Every single treasury fund, every single bill, every single tokenized fund, every single stock exchange, every single repo markets, every single exchange markets. Stable coins being as dollars and currencies being tokenized. The full-blown thing, family. In 2025 is the push in the initiative to really get that popping and going. And you see right here, family, what I have on your screen is when you understand that Ripple and Xrp, this is the marriage of the heavens. This is coming to the point to where that Ripple has been behind the scenes with everyone, secretly shaking hands, non-disclosure agreements of the largest financial institutions to come on chain and tokenize all of their assets. We're talking about in the value of quadrillions of assets under management. Vanguard, PNC Bank, HSBC, Temenos, CME Group, Accenture, MoneyGram, Bank of America, R3 Swift, BNY Mellon, BlackRock, Santander, Accenture, American Express. They're all coming to cryptocurrency. They're all tokenizing their assets, and they're choosing Ripple and RippleNet as their level 1 technology layer that they're going to build everything on top of, family. I'm telling you, that's exactly how it's going down. And that's bullish. We're talking to the future here. We're letting everybody know on the HighVibeAssets channel that, bro, this has been essentially sealed from the jump. And I understand, man, it's very, it's very hard to hold these assets. We want the price of these assets to be where we want them to be in the time that we want them, but we have to let the technology develop. We have to let the narratives continue to seep in. We have to let the legislation and regulation and real world adoption of these assets, we have to let it settle. And we're increasingly getting more and more opportunities each day. We're increasingly seeing the adoption of the technology passing by day after day. Stay locked in, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, you're going to get rewarded. And especially if you are an XRP holder, especially if you are an XLM holder, it's looking very good right now. Take a look at what I'm showing you right here on your screen. We got Trump courts donors with White House ballroom dinner. It says Trump invited his biggest donors to a glitzy White House dinner celebrating a $250 million ballroom now under construction. It says this event pulls in who's of financials or influencers and powers brokers eager to stay in the president's orbit. Now, when I'm going down right here, you see we have Ripple is on this list. Now, when you think about Ripple being on this list, and you see how in the image that I'm showing you right here that it's all been sealed and it's all been taken care of in pre-terms, this is exactly letting you know what it's in. You see, Ripple has already been in with the deep state organizations. Okay. This is not an ordinary company. They're not here to do ordinary things. They're here to put a dent in the universe. And does that mean you have to politic a little bit? Absolutely, man. For sure. Yeah, you have to politic. That's what you have to do in the name of the game. If you want rules and regulations to go your way, if you want to be compliant, if you want to be the head of the game and make sure that your technology, maybe your policies and your companies have essentially a good way to continue to power your technology, you're going to do exactly what you need to do. And there's no way, ladies and gentlemen, that you can have Temenos, Vanguard, Santander, PNC Group, Barclays, Bank of New York Mellon, BlackRock, PNC Group, Bank of America, Google Ventures, Accenture, American Express. There is no way, ladies and gentlemen, that you can have all of this, family, without shaking hands in the back. You know? And what thing that I have always been taught, family, is follow the money. Follow what they're doing. Follow the legislation. Follow the narratives. Follow what they're pushing. Why? Because that's exactly what's going to happen in the long run. And I got a good excerpt right here for you from Mr. Man, Xrp. This is big, man. Kind of switch it over in a little bit. Kind of stand on the same thing when we're talking about how Ripple is formulating essentially the company of all companies, the Amazon of crypto, right? It's going to have the fastest valuation that we have seen in any company in history. And one aspect that's going to put them in that position is Ripple Labs USD. We're going to take a quick deep dive, and I really want the HighVibeAssets community to really understand the level 1 and level 2 layers, the utility and use cases of Ripple Labs USD, which is going to catapult the widespread adoption of RippleNet, the global adoption of the XRP ledger because of a regulated stablecoin. It says right here that this is what RippleNet's ecosystem looks like when it is completed with stablecoin arrangements. Ripple Labs USD, Ripple Labs Yen, Ripple Labs Euro, Ripple Labs Pound, etc. It says that Ripple operates on its real-time gross settlement system for wholesale funds. Stablecoins will be issued before CBDCs. Stablecoins are regulated almost in most countries. Now, when you're taking a look at right here, this is the underlying system. And this is the XRP ledger. And all of these assets, you're talking about tokenization, everything is going to be stored on the XRP ledger, with XRP being the native asset that essentially settles all transactions on this ledger. So we're talking about domestic payments. We're talking about, international payments, whether if it's happening in USD, whether if it's happening in Mexican peso, whether if it's happening in the euro, whether if it's happening in the pound. No matter what essentially currency that you're operating in, Ripple Labs USD is going to be that stable coin that's going to bring on that utility from any single financial jurisdiction in any financial currency in seconds for less than a penny, being able to transfer the value onto the XRP ledger. Now, these big conglomerates, I want to say like BlackRock and Santander and CME Group and, Vanguard, they can easily access distributed ledger technology by converting with Ripple Labs USD and operating as a medium of exchange or even operating as a store of value and bringing all of their assets on chain to the XRP ledger, family. And that's huge. And that's huge. That's large. That's big. Why? Because again, the name of this game is all about utility. The name of the game is all about the amount of usage and utility and value that is either stored or exchanged on the network that ultimately decides the value of the underlying settlement mechanism of the network, right? And of course, you have other variables too along that goes in there with, the amount of tokens that settles, the amount of drops that is able to, be settlement mechanism times, a lot of that. But again, by having all of these financial institutions, right? First of all, with Ripple becoming a bank, and they're legally able to do this, Ripple Labs USD is already essentially regulated. All of these different companies and all of these different continents choosing Ripple Labs USD as their on and off ramp to USD, right? To do international transactions and to continue to push that utility onto the XRP ledger, family. I'm telling you, I tell people all the time on this channel, if you're not bullish, this is the perfect time to get bullish. But if you are bullish, family, it's time to get even more bullish. Time to get even more. Because every G20 nation will hold an offer of Ripple Labs USD as their own digital currency on the XRP ledger. Absolutely. And that's why the XRP ledger has this decentralized exchange known as the World Exchange. That's why you need to get bullish, family, because it's this large. We're talking about tokenizing the entire financial system. And everybody in the G20 nation will be holding some form of USD on XRPL by way of Ripple Labs USD. Make sure, family, that you hit the like button and make sure that you smash the subscribe button. The last thing I'm going to leave you here with, family, is just really understanding what all of this really means when you put it all together. Okay, you have presentations, and I'm showing you right here that this isn't speculation anymore, that XRP will create the next generation of millionaires. You had time to accumulate. We're talking about tokenization of all of the world's assets, quadrillions plus. The largest financial institutions have already been in agreement with it, so they're already leveraging their assets on the XRP ledger. Then when you want to talk about politics, Ripple has already been politicking as well, spending that money to make sure that policies and that crypto regulation can push forward so we can adopt this technology on the worldwide basis by XRP. Man, very good about the entire system of stable coins, pushing all of the utility on the XRP ledger. And every nation will hold an offer of the Ripple Labs USD as their own digital currency on the XRP ledger. Ladies and gentlemen, get your damn spacesuits on. XRP is going to another damn planet. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section as well. Join the AlgoPearRich community, freeing minds financially. This is not financial advice, and I'm not a financial advisor. Look around and tell everyone that the bulls are getting ready to run out the damn gates.
XRP, 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 XRP. The bulls getting ready to run out the gate.